I genuinely believe that this is like single-handedly the most valuable information that I've had the blessing to collect throughout my life through my first-hand experiences, and I've just seen the results of this firsthand and have analyzed people and made connections to like come up with these 4 principles that I'm about to talk about. And I'm not someone to say this lightly either. Like, truly, I'm really glad I finally made this video. So like, when you think of someone having confidence, you might think of them being able to fight for their ideas in front of a large crowd, maybe going against the group, sharing their opinion that way, or being able to lead a large group of people. And this is definitely confidence, but what I want to talk about today is different. It's more of a silent confidence, and that results in a magnetic aura that I believe can be recreated. So like, have you ever been so entranced with someone simply because they were quiet yet looked put together? Like, you know the feeling you get when someone walks into a room and they look attractive, they're staring straight ahead, they have a confident stride, and you just like think to yourself, like, who are they? And I've had this feeling about like 3 times in my life. And since the first time I felt this, I always wondered, like, have people felt this way towards me, first of all? And can you gain this power of having silent confidence, or like having this magnetic aura? And I'm a pretty planned out, charismatic person, so I actually ended up being like best friends with 2 of these people who I felt this magnetic aura around. And so I learned a lot about their beliefs and their behaviors, and I've actually found a lot of similarities, and that's how I concluded, like, this can be recreated. And I want to include that I wasn't alone in this feeling of entrancement, of magneticism within them. Like, others saw them as entrancing as well, you know, like a lot of people came up to them and things like that. Yeah, and as cliche as it is, I think that it did truly come from within them to have this silent confidence and magnetic aura. They had a lot in common, and one was a woman, the other was a man, so this is applicable to both genders, just for some context. And with these 4 principles, if you follow them, I'm like sure you're gonna attract people like way more effortlessly, at least more than before. You know, so number 1, they were both focused on themselves generally. And when I say this, I don't mean they were egotistical. Like, I mean they just weren't as focused on the people around them as much as people usually are. So most people worry about like what others will think of them if they wear a certain thing or say something controversial. But if you're so focused on your own opinions, this quality is going to shine through you, because you start to do things that align with like your true self, that are intuitive to you. You follow your own style instead of what you see on social media, so you slightly set yourself apart. You form your own ideas based on your past experiences instead of agreeing or even hearing about the most popular idea. And you're going to do what you want to do internally without asking for anyone's opinion, because you felt it was right within yourself. You're going to listen to music frequently, again, to like dive into your internal world. And this also applies to extroverts, by the way, as they too can learn to appreciate their internal world and be comfortable in it over time. And one of my friends was actually an extrovert who had this magnetic aura, I guess, and he still accomplished this. In essence, they like set themselves apart by being focused on their internal world rather than the external world and what the external world will think about them. And number 2, they were quiet in the right moments. And I know this is a popular idea, so let me explain like further. So like, let me explain with an example. You may have been interested in someone before, but like once they open their mouth and say something off, or you know, it ruins the whole thing. Like, to remain intriguing to people, you want to stay quiet when you can, and eventually you will realize that like the world doesn't need to hear your opinions, and you will stop wanting to share your opinions as much as you start to delve deeper into your internal world rather than your external world. And combined with like the first point, you will be so focused on your own opinions and forming it that you just won't feel the need to say it out loud. So you won't. And I guess this is an extension from the first point. So you know your thoughts within yourself, so not all of them have to be said out loud, you know? Kind of just conclude that over time. And number 3, they were put together, yet messy, and therefore intriguing. They weren't really perfect. And if you take care of yourself well, have good hygiene, have good makeup, have a healthy, fit body, you will naturally look more put together, and that's just the truth. If your skin, hair, and body are healthy, you will already be like setting yourself apart from the majority of people. And for one of my friends, it came very naturally to her. But the other had to work for it. And both of those situations are very valid. At the end of the day, they had the same result. So don't be discouraged if you feel like you aren't there yet, you know what I mean? And like, this doesn't have to be a natural thing again. I've concluded that this could be recreated. Like, that's what I truly believe, as I've seen this in 2 people. I've really analyzed it in 2 people. I've seen it in more than 2. But I've analyzed it in those 2 and saw the similarities. Like, if you have good style, like no name brand clothes that fit you well, you will already set yourself apart. And they're both very picky about their clothing choices, actually, in terms of color scheme and especially the way clothes fit them. But like I said in the beginning, they were a little messy, and usually this can be done with your hair. Like, for girls, you can have a unique style, and for the guys, it's okay to for your hair to look a little frizzy and grown out, you know? And I know I say this with like the most basic hairstyle, but hey, I'm in the comfort of my own home, okay? This has to be slight as well, like this little messy part of you. And I don't mean to like walk around with different color shoes, because then it will look like you're trying to stand out, and it doesn't give this feel of effortlessness, just to be blunt. And I don't want to prescribe this like way of living either. Like, you don't have to do these things. It's just, if you clicked on this video, I assume you kind of do want this thing. Okay, number 4, they weren't shy. And I said before that they were usually in their internal world, but that doesn't mean that they were scared to leave it. When they were put in situations where they had to speak in front of the people, like, they, at the very least, acted naturally. And especially, you must be calm and collected when talking to people. You must have direct eye contact, and this is where the silent confidence that I was talking about in the beginning is really shown in how you interact with other people. When you're so comfortable within yourself, coming back to the first point, you don't need the validation of others. So you aren't really worried about if they feel like you're weird or awkward, and this allows your real personality to like shine through with this silent confidence. And trust me, it like makes a difference. And just to sum it all up, I want to emphasize that you don't need to be a perfect human being to be magnetic. You don't need to completely fix your mental health, completely fix your acne, have a perfect body. All you need is to be focused on your internal world and be comfortable within yourself. Be quiet when never possible, but this also doesn't mean isolate yourself completely. Be put together, but still imperfect, and have something different and off about you. Remember, your hair can be used to accomplish this. And finally, like, don't be shy when talking to other people. So what are some like actionable steps to become this way? Because I don't like being vague. And if you haven't already, like, having a period of being alone, like 1 to 3 months, 3 being better, to truly find yourself and be comfortable within yourself. And don't isolate yourself completely, because at the end of the day, that is unhealthy. We are social creatures. But just being alone and truly analyzing yourself, finding out what you like, what you're interested in, and finding yourself again like you probably thought of before. You probably have this image of yourself in your head where everything's perfect and you know yourself and you're confident and everything like that. I truly believe that to become that way, you need to be alone. And like, trust me, you won't regret it. It will be hard, but you will learn and appreciate so many things about yourself. And this is truly how to focus more on your internal world. And I even have a video on this called Be Alone. It's more of a rant, but I'll link it in the description. And the most unusual thing about this is that once you've learned to be magnetic, you're not going to care about it anymore. Like, think about it. If you're truly focused on your internal world, you're not going to care about others being drawn to you. You're not going to care what society thinks about you, to an extent. But you will know that you become magnetic when, one, you see the results of it and people do truly come up to you more and see you as interesting. And two, you really don't care if people come up to you or not, which is like it's kind of backwards thinking, but it's true, and it makes sense if you think about it. And that's all I have to say about like the most valuable information I think I've picked up throughout my life. I wish everyone the best. That's all.